Why are you always filming with that camera?
So that we remember these moments are ever so fleeting. They won't last forever. One day, we'll look back at this and wish we could return, even just for a minute. I want to remember what it felt like, the warmth of these moments, the way everything felt so alive. Because years from now, when everything changes, at least we'll have this. We'll have proof that we were here and that this was living. Okay, firstly, yes, I disappeared for a week. There was supposed to be an episode 4 and well, there just wasn't. I could give you some polished excuse about being busy, but the truth is I was just completely burnt out. I ended up taking time off work and for once I genuinely didn't have anything left to give. Which is slightly ironic when you've created a podcast largely around saying yes, doing things before you're ready and not waiting for the right time. Apparently, sometimes the things you need to do is absolutely, insert swear word, nothing. But while I've been burnt out, my life has also somehow been absolutely ridiculous. Since I last spoke to you, I've spent an entire day hiking without my phone, screaming into the wilderness and jumping into freezing cold water. I've ran a 5k, well, I say ran. I walked a 5k for childhood neuroblastoma. I somehow ended up dancing on stage with Max Jackson. I've gone down the Candace, Owens and Andrew Wilson debate rabbit hole. I'm reapplying for the American visa that I've already been rejected for. I've turned up to a court hearing virtually in the UK from here. And I'm about to fly halfway around the world to Nashville alone. Something I do all the time. And I'm still nervous. We've got some catching up to do. I think there's a really uncomfortable question I need to ask myself. Am I actually really good at living life fully? Or am I just really bad at stopping? So I did take time off of work due to burnout. And yeah, it just got to the point where everything was bothering me. I was feeling so tired all the time. I was constantly running, felt like I had constantly had this huge to-do list that I never had time to get round to. And the list was just growing and growing and growing. And I'm productive. So it really made me stop and wonder for a minute, where's all this stuff coming from? Like, nobody else has the amount of things to do as what I have to do. And that's not because I have more to do, it's because I'm making more for me to do. So I decided to have a conversation with my coach, who massively encouraged me to take some time off. Even that in itself was really difficult because I felt like I had to justify why I was burnt out or why I needed to take some time off, which is a whole part of what I'm working on with my coach. So he was very strict with me in terms of, nope, delete out that justification from the message, stop telling yourself X, and it's okay to just need some time. However, I was brought up in a way where, no, you don't sit still and you don't take time off unless you're actually dying. So yeah, I find it really difficult. I have this huge guilt over me in terms of, am I letting everyone down? Am I letting the team down? Whereas actually, if I was to hang on and pretend I'm okay for longer, I'd be letting them down more. So yeah, I think burnout is a very real problem that we all have to face, especially us who work in corporate and have very stressful jobs during the day. Eventually it's going to catch up with us. It's became more popular in recent years, especially post-COVID, when we really got to see the effects of a work-life balance and how much that improved the overall well-being of team members. It's an important topic, but for me, I just don't know when to stop. I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to trust someone else with the things on my to-do list. Never mind trust someone else. Who do I ask? Like, I don't want to give more work to someone else to do. Like, it's easier for me just to do it myself. My mind runs a million miles an hour at all times, so I'm constantly thinking of new ideas and new things I'm going to do and new things I want to research. And yeah, when you cue that up with a high pressure work environment where the culture's not very good, then eventually the tower's going to tumble. And for me, that was last week. I could feel it coming, the people around me could see it, and it was time to take some time. And as hard as that was for me to do that, I needed to, and I'm glad I did. And I slept so much. Obviously, I needed it. And with everything else I had going on as well, like on top, trying to do court cases and visa stuff and all these things on top of a day job is really difficult, especially when you're trying to work around time zones as well. Like, my meetings with the US attorneys are like 3 a.m. The court cases are like 7, 8 p.m. Like, it's a lot. I am so used to just continuing to keep going as well that it was hard to stop. It really was. And then when I did stop, I felt guilty. I felt guilty for the girls who work for me, for not being there to support them and help them, and feeling like I was then adding stress onto their plate. But they were very positive in suggesting this is something that I needed to do for myself as well. And they got through, and that's why I have the best team working for me. I know I can rely on them always. So I'm very lucky in that regard. I definitely felt guilty about missing the podcast too. Like, this is something that I've made a commitment to, and it's just not something that I do, is to not follow through on my commitments. It's foreign to me, so it was really difficult to accept that. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, because like, it's just a podcast, or it's just work, or for some people you have the perfect mindset as to what you need and what your body needs, and how and when to give it that. I don't have that. That's something I'm learning at 35. Like, someone asked me last year what my needs were, and I was like, I don't know. And I've been figuring it out, and I've been on that journey. But yeah, it was really tough. However, I do want to say, I think that there's a difference between giving up and needing to stop. And I'm trying to bring my attention to that, so I don't judge myself for needing to stop. Because just because I need to stop for a while doesn't mean I'm giving up. I can pick it back up again, but I need to give myself the time to rest. And that's what, up until now, I have been very bad at. So I'm starting to realize that stop waiting and live your life can't mean run yourself into the ground. Which brings me to possibly the weirdest thing I've done since I last spoke to you. When was the last time you spent an entire day with absolutely nothing to distract you from yourself? So my coach ended up taking me on, I'm going to call it monster hike, because for me it was. And had I known what the day was going to involve, I literally would have found every reason not to go. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know what I was in for. But it's really important to my coach, for me, and I'm starting to see why, that I find some time to stop and I find some time to really be in nature and kind of ground myself. I am struggling tonight. Jeez, why is my head just not working? Probably still part of the burnout. Bear with me. I am doing my best. So I can't remember where I got to, but yeah, I didn't have to. I went on this hike with Lachlan, my coach, and what he did tell me, he sent me a list of things I would need. He said we were going to be out in nature. It included things like comfortable walking shoes, so I knew there was going to be some form of walking involved. Togs, absolutely no phones, which felt really strange because I can put my phone down and I can not look at it, but I always know it's there, especially in case of emergencies. So to not have that felt really uncomfortable for the first part. It felt strange and I'm like, who do I tell? Do I let everyone know that I'm not contactable? Does anyone care? Like, I put it on my story and then I was like, well, it takes me 3 weeks to get back to anyone anyway, so no one's even gonna notice that I'm not here. It was just a bit to get used to, but it was fine in the end. I very quickly got used to not having it with me until I realized I then didn't have any form of payment. So Lachlan had to pay for everything for me for the date, which was another trigger of mine that I had to deal with, which was interesting. I was triggered in trying to buy me a muffin. But yeah, it happens. So I am so used to having constant stimulation, like whether it's researching, it's on my phone, it's watching movies, I'm in the shower, I'm listening to podcasts, I go to bed, I listen to audiobooks, in the car, I'm listening to things or I'm watching something. Like, I am a nightmare at being able to stop. I hate being in the quiet. So this is one of the reasons why doing all of this is really important for my coaching journey, because at the moment when I'm left alone with my head and my thoughts, all I do is create 10 million more things to put on my to-do list. Like, my brain just doesn't stop. So giving myself quiet, it's like giving my space to add more to things that I need to do, which is what I don't want, because my to-do list is already a million things long. So I don't want to give myself any time and space to be adding anything extra. However, I didn't have that because we were hiking up, I don't even know what you call it, but like up a creek, like up towards waterfalls. So we were like climbing over boulders. We were trying not to slip on the slippy rocks. We were walking through the woods. We were getting caught in spiky trees. We were, all these things, trying to figure out the best way to walk. Like, so it was, that part was easy because it was fine. I was distracted. And then I didn't realize how long a walk it was going to be, but we kept going. It was fine. Lachlan was asking me questions as we were walking, and he said something to me on the walk about how he was talking with someone else and how, like, sometimes getting someone to walk that far already makes you break your walls down because you're like exhausted, you've had enough by the time you get there. And I never said anything, but that's definitely what I was feeling. And then we did a process at the top about me and myself and the way I talk to myself and some of my limiting beliefs, which was interesting. And that involved me screaming into the wilderness, which is very unusual for me. I get so shy and I kind of close down whenever it comes to like screaming really loud or shouting my feelings or just letting things out. So that was really interesting, but I actually did enjoy it, and like Lachlan really supported me through it, and we had a good laugh doing it as well. And then after that, he got me to jump in a freezing cold waterfall, and like, I like cold plunges. Like, this was next level. So I jumped in, and then he's like shouting from the edge, like, to swim to the waterfall, and I'm like, no, just trying to clamber out. I'm like, no, I can't do it, it's too cold. But as difficult as it was, like I really do enjoy that part where you have to draw everything that you have into your focus and just do the thing. Like, you can't stand there forever and think, well, no, there's no walking away. I see people who try and do cold plunges and they give up. I can't do that. Don't have that part in me. So I have to really like center my brain and be like, okay, Jade, you can do this. 3, 2, 1, go. And yeah, it was cold, but I loved it. And then we had some snacks, and then had like an hour and a bit hike back down. I honestly felt really good after it. I felt like I had a real internal shift from not being enough or not feeling like I'm ever enough for people to I am enough. Like, I am great. Like, and it's other people's loss if they don't see that in me, because actually I'm pretty damn awesome. And that feeling, just to carry that around for a few days, felt really nice. So I'm glad I did it. So that was one of the active things I done. Another active thing I done was let's call it a 5K run. It's a 5K walk, but we'll call it a 5K run for childhood neuroblastoma. It was a bit of a last minute sign up, but one of my bestest friends, Kayla, was doing the event. Her and her partner, Luke, their niece, unfortunately passed away because of neuroblastoma. Her name was Emily. So her and Luke's family do this every year, and they have this big tent where they put up, and they have all these snacks, and they dress up, and everyone does it as like one big family. So when I was invited along to that, I couldn't say no. I was excited to support the cause, and I was also excited to show up for my friend. So yeah, it was, I mean, the walking was fine, but we got like 100 meters in, and the person was like, oh, you're at the 2.5K mark. And me and Kayla are like, what? I didn't feel like 2.5K. Anyway, she was completely wrong. So yeah, that then made the 5K feel much longer. And Kayla almost didn't do the full 5K because she got like within viewing distance of the U-turn and decided she was just going to turn around, and I was like, nope, come on, we're going to the sign and we're around it and we're going back. And then we got the photos back from the like event organizers, and it's just me and her yapping the whole way around. Like every photo we're just talking. So it was really nice to spend some time with her, and in support of a good cause as well. And I was extremely burnt out. I was very tired. I didn't feel very great, but I was so proud of myself for turning up. And I remember laying in bed that morning and thinking, you have no excuse. You have zero excuse. You can't use any of these things as an excuse not to turn up for this specific event. So anyway, I want to take this opportunity to encourage everyone who's listening, to just do something for a good cause at some point. It's really easy to get caught up in life and forget that these things are happening, but they're on all the time everywhere, especially here in Brisbane. Like, we have so much happening. So yeah, if you do have some spare time, something I would encourage you to look into. So I've wanted to do more with country music and country events for a while now, as most of you know. And then this week I ended up on stage dancing with Max Jackson. And I'm not even really sure how I got here, but I'm so glad I am here. So it was at Doomben Country Music Race Day, and my mum had met Max years ago, and I also know Max's husband Jeremy because many moons ago, I was in a music video here in Australia. I'm not telling you the band or the name of the song because I can't cope with that video. But yeah, so it's funny how things come back around. But my mum had been trying to get me and Max to meet up in person for quite a while. Max was really interested in having some of my Cali streetwear and stuff, and we were following each other on socials, and we just started messaging, and yeah, I ended up dancing with her for the one of her songs for the Country Music Race Day. I think I have two sides to this. I absolutely loved it. I had the best time. Like, the people, I didn't even see the people out there. I just felt the energy from the band, from Max, from Ruby, who was dancing with me. I was just having an absolute ball. And I really was on cloud nine for so long after it. And it just came so randomly. Like, yeah, like it's not... Yeah, it just came out of the blue. However, on the flip side, like, I kind of laid in bed after it, and this is where like my limiting beliefs or my harshest critic comes in. And I very much thought to myself, like, Jade, you're 35. Like, do you not think you're kind of acting like a bit of a 25-year-old rather than a 35-year-old, like being up on stage, line dancing, like with an artist? And no, that's so not true. I can do whatever I want. Like, it doesn't matter what age I am. Like, I'm enjoying my life. I'm living my life. I'm having the most fun doing it. So I really had to spend quite a bit of time shushing that voice in my head and being okay with it. But it is hard. It's tough sometimes when I'm around so many people who are in their 20s, and it does make me feel like I wish I could just take 10 years off my life. But I don't even know why, because I feel better now. Like, I feel better now than I did in my mid-20s. I've got more money, I've got more things like knowledge in my head, more ideas, more skills. But it's almost like this external image of like, are other people going to look at me and think, you know, you should be settled down, you should have a family, you shouldn't be dancing on stage to hold your horses. Like, but that's the idea that society plants in our head, and that's now what I'm having to grapple with, is that's not true. I can do whatever I want at 35. My life can look however I want my life to look. So anyway, parking that negative Nancy mindset aside, I can't say it enough times, I had the best time. And I really, really, really hope that I get asked at some point to do more line dancing on stage, because I had a ball, and I'm down to do it time and time and time again. It's funny how a few months ago I just imagined all these things, and now all of a sudden I'm just here and it's all happening. Like, my social videos, my interviews for single cowboys and cowgirls have been blowing up. My new Insta page has blown up. I've been getting approached to be an ambassador for a few different country brands. I've been approached about taking part in different events such as line dancing and fashion shows and things like that in the country scene, upcoming events here in Australia. I was dancing with Max Jackson. I've been officially signed up as a line dance teacher with Gillies, teaching at different events and venues across Brisbane as time goes on. And it's just, everything's came at once, and it feels so good. It feels so good to feel like I am finally sitting in a pocket doing things that I absolutely love. Yeah, and I'm having a ball. I really am having a ball. I feel like I am now finally in the room and involved in the situations rather than watching it from the outside. And that feels pretty damn special. I don't believe that opportunities magically appear because you manifest them. I think you need to start putting yourself in rooms where opportunities have a chance to find you. And for me, this has genuinely worked wonders. I couldn't have predicted what was going to happen with Max, but I chose to show up to the conversation and show up with excitement and enthusiasm and really feel it. And I meant it. Like, I meant all the words I said. That's the bit that you can control, is your attitude towards these things and the rooms that you put yourself in. And speaking about rooms that you put yourself in, one room I would have loved to have been in was Candace Owens' studio for the Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson debate. Even though I wasn't in the room, I did watch the debate, and I think the Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson debate is so important for everybody to watch. And weirdly, it's not even about their specific debate topics, but it's about the approach. I am a great believer, and I know some people are like, stop saying it, I'm sick of hearing it, that everyone should have to do debate club in high school. Because I think we are increasingly getting ourselves into positions as the generations move on where people are unable to argue both sides of an argument. They think that their way is the only way and that they cannot handle if someone else has an opinion that is different to theirs. And I think this is where debating can give you such a great skill set that you will need to survive life. Because not everyone's going to agree with you, not everyone's going to think the same as you, and you can't always decide who is around you. You can, of course, do so with your close friends and family, but you don't always get to pick the people around you and how they act and behave, which is where you can learn how to deal with your own triggers rather than project them out onto others. And I think, regardless of what you think of Candace Owens, she is unbelievably good at debating. She obviously learned from one of the best in terms of she learned from Charlie Kirk. But there's something that we can all learn from that. And one thing that I learned from Andrew Wilson in that debate is how bad he was at debating. And when he got to the point where he just started throwing out jabs and making statements such as, I think all women are retards, it was obvious it was over. And I do think that this is a representation of currently what it is like. Like, it's almost like there's a split. There's like half the people that are open to, that can be open-minded and can have discussion and can talk about hard things and be okay with that and understand that you don't always have to agree with the person next to you, but they don't have to think how you do either. And then you've got the other side of it who can't possibly see any pros to their opposition's mindset, ways of thinking, and they really sit in this pocket of victim, I suppose. And then when they don't get what they want or they're not hearing what they want to hear, they start lashing out. Which is exactly what happened in that debate. And anyone who's watched it knows the same. It was cringing. It was cringe at times, especially with the silences. It didn't change my mind on anything. I think, Andrew Wilson seems to have forgotten that in a court of law in America, you are innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. And I think it's really important that this goes through the proper trial process, and that there are people all over the internet from both sides who are finding more information and sharing it and helping the court system come to the conclusion, and it'd be the right one, not just the Fed slop narrative or not just a conspiracy theory, but somewhere that takes into account all the things that's going on and makes a final decision, because at the end of the day, this is a guy's life that's on the line. It's funny because if you could go back to the day Charlie Kirk was shot, whereas I was in Utah, I left Utah because I was at Utah State Fair. I left the night before Charlie was shot. And if you told me then that coming up to a year on, there would still be this level of trending around him and the assassination, it would have been really difficult to believe that I would be so invested in it this far on, and that there was going to be so many questions out there. But I love a good conspiracy. I love a good whodunit. So yeah, I've been following the case for a while now, and I find the debate really interesting, and it's really important that we start to have more and more conversations like that. I think another one of the reasons why the court system in America is a concern of mine is because obviously I hope one day to be living there. And that leads me on to my next topic, which is reapplying for my visa. And I think it's really easy to say that you aren't afraid of rejection when you haven't been rejected yet. This time I'm trying again whilst knowing exactly what a no feels like, and it feels even more nerve-wracking than the first time. So I did my first application, I submitted it, it went to a request for evidence, which is where they want more information on your initial application, and then I waited and got my denial. There's 3 different prongs that they assess you on. What they said was that they think I'm qualified enough and I have enough work experience. They weren't sure how what I do is going to have a national importance. Which is one of the parts that you have to prove, is how the work that you do is not only going to affect the organizations you work for, but it's going to be of national importance to America. So for those who don't know, I work in signaling systems on a railway, which is massively to do with safety. There's a lot of upgrades happening in America. There's a lot of safety upgrades they need to make to their railways. And there's also a lot of high-speed rail that they are planning on putting in. So that's where the kind of argument towards national importance comes from for what I can bring to the table. It's not something that America has buckets and buckets of, is people with the kind of experience that I have. So that's what we were really leaning into. Anyway, I got denied, as I told you in the first episode, and now it's reapplication time. And I started off by going through the application again, like line by line, and change this, add this. I want you to restructure the argument in this way. And I was laid in bed one night and I was like, during the burnout period, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I am exhausted. I can't even think about it anymore. There's too much going on in my world right now. So I literally just put into ChatGPT and said, can you review their proposed strategy for the resubmission and give me some comments? And they came back, and ChatGPT came back with some comments, which I sent to the lawyers, and I'm just waiting to hear back. So there's 2 sides to this. One side, it feels really nice to not have all the pressure and trying to do it all myself and really rely on the support that at the end of the day I have paid for. But then on the other side of it, obviously the lawyer in my head is saying the lawyers don't know what you do. They don't know the specifics and the details, so you would be a better person to do it. But the person who is reviewing the case also is not going to know all the details of what I do. So again, this is where I'm coming in and into my own head, and I'm convincing myself why I don't have to do everything. I can let other people support me sometimes. And as difficult as that is, I'm learning, but I'm getting there. I just don't want to give up my dream. I don't want to give up my dream of moving to America. It's all I want to do. I want to be there all the time. I literally just want to wear Western gear all the time. I want to ride horses whenever I want. I want to go at the honky tonks and dance all night. I want to meet someone who knows how to dance and yeah, spend forever doing all the things I love. So fingers crossed, I'm trying again. It has cost me more money, which is adding a bit more stress onto me. But if I didn't try, I knew that I'd spend forever wondering what if. So here we go. We're doing it again, and I'll keep you updated along the way. You're gonna get to find out with me as I find out. So I might not be living there yet, but I am going on a trip again soon. And people assume that because I go everywhere alone, that I'm not scared of going places alone. And that is complete nonsense. It still gets really scary and really overwhelming when I'm planning these trips and knowing where I'm going and knowing what I'm going to be doing and knowing that I'm going to have to step into all of these rooms completely on my own and find the strength to do that. I'll have the best time once I'm there, I know that. But still, taking that initial step and the thought of it is pretty daunting. I've moved countries, I've traveled solo many times before, I've attended events alone, I've danced alone, I've walked into rooms alone, and I still get pretty nervous. Some of the things that I'm nervous about Nashville specifically is I'm going to go to Nashville Dance Fest. So walking into Nashville Dance Fest alone feels pretty scary. I have no idea what the level's going to be. Am I going to be able to do what everyone else is doing? Am I going to feel completely out of my depth? There's a lot of questions around that. And there's a lot of things that I don't mind about it. Like, I don't mind sitting on my own. I don't mind getting up and dancing on my own. I don't mind traveling on my own, like all those kind of things. But sometimes, especially if, like, I don't know, little things like if I want my photo at the Nashville Dance Fest sign and having to ask someone else to do it because I'm there by myself, like that's something that gets to me. Or if I get a table and then like I want to go to the toilet, like you have to plan more. It's like, okay, I'll go to the toilet before I sit, or I'll get a drink before I sit down, so then I don't have to leave the table and then lose the table because there's not someone else who can sit there and keep it. Like, it's like more logistics that you have to be more aware of, which I think is part of what makes me more nervous and less able to settle. But I have been a bit bougie, and for Nashville Dance Fest I have bought VIP tickets because they do have like a bag holding area and stuff. So yeah, we'll see. And you never know, I might meet some really, I'm sure I'm sure I will meet some really cool people whilst I'm there. And maybe it's that some part of me still walks into these rooms and thinks, who am I going to sit with for lunch? Like, it takes me back to school somewhere in my head, even though like I've built up the skills on top of that to deal with it. Maybe there's just a little voice in there still somewhere. So maybe courage, actually not maybe, I know courage isn't becoming someone who's not scared anymore. I think courage is becoming someone who knows it's gonna be scary, but still does it anyway. And that's 100% where I'm at. I know it's gonna be scary. I know it's not gonna be easy, and I'm gonna have little waves of anxiety, but that's not gonna stop me. I'm still gonna go and do it, and I know that I'll have the best time, and I'll be so grateful afterwards that I went and I did all these cool, fun things. Don't get me wrong. If someone called me and was like, oh, Jade, Theo Vaughn wants to hang out with you whilst you're in Nashville, I wouldn't say no, like, I'm down. But unfortunately no one has called me and I said Theo Vaughn wants to hang out with me yet. Although I do have some friends in Nashville that I am looking for. Please don't take offense to that. I just really love Theo Vaughn. He's so cute and funny. I feel like I've just done like a massive ramble of everything that I've been up to and all the kind of heavy stuff that's been over me. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm exhausted, but I'm excited at the same time. I'm trying to actually recover rather than just find more things to do, which I find at the moment is making me feel like I'm getting a bit lazy. I'm not. My nervous system is just adjusting, and that's okay too. I'm reapplying for a visa I've already been rejected for. I'm about to fly across the world on my own again, and yes, I'm nervous. I've screamed into the Australian wilderness. I've thrown myself into freezing cold water. I've walked a 5K. I've somehow danced on stage with Max Jackson. And apparently I decided that a political debate was what my already overwhelmed brain needed. So a very relaxing couple of weeks, really. Jeez. Oh my god, will I ever know what relaxing is? I'm not sure. But I'm glad I'm back. And I'm actually glad I missed last week, rather than forcing myself to show up when I really did need a rest. If you're someone who does go everywhere alone and still gets scared when you do so, please come and tell me. I love hearing your stories when you message me after listening to this. So please keep doing that, because yeah, I can't wait to hear. Also, if you have any thoughts on the Candace and Andrew debate, let me know. I'd love to hear it. So thanks again for hanging out with me for another night, and I'll see you next week.